Charles Hoskinson is warning that crypto regulation could protect incumbents while blocking future rivals. Hoskinson warns clarity frames the pressure because the argument is not anti-clarity. It is about whether one law freezes the market around today's biggest players. He specifically raised concerns around the Clarity Act and the possibility that Ethereum, XRP, and ADA could face securities questions. The useful part is the test in front of the story, not a broad market slogan. The exact classification language is the first thing to monitor. That gives the opening a measurable checkpoint and keeps the story tied to named levels, named participants, named rules, or named product steps. The confirmed baseline is a policy fight. Hoskinson criticized rushed legislation and argued that strict rules could become difficult to reverse once passed. The supplied evidence frames the debate around competition, lobbying incentives, and whether new projects get a fair path. This baseline matters because it gives viewers the part that can be checked before any larger conclusion is drawn. It also limits the story to the facts already visible. His warning is a position in a debate, not a final legal outcome. The viewer can separate the setup from speculation. One side is the factual baseline, and the other is the result that still needs confirmation. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. The mechanism is regulatory clarity turning into a barrier if compliance costs favor established firms. In plain English, a law can reduce uncertainty while still making entry harder for smaller builders. For Hoskinson warns clarity, that mechanism matters because the concern is that early crypto winners could benefit from rules that future competitors cannot easily meet. The stress point is specific, whether the final bill balances investor protection, classification standards, and startup access. This is the part that makes the headline useful because it explains why one level, deadline, filing, reserve figure, integration, or data point can change behavior. The direct impact lands on new crypto projects, Cardano supporters, XRP holders, and US builders. If the concern proves right, large projects may gain a clearer moat while smaller projects face higher entry costs. If the bill improves, it could still give the industry a more predictable path without locking out newcomers. The practical consequence is classification details decide whether clarity broadens access or narrows it. That is the viewer value here, understanding who faces the change and why the change is not the same for every participant. The effect is not evenly distributed, so the segment focuses on the group with the clearest supported exposure. The unresolved part is what the final Clarity Act language would actually require. A warning from one founder does not prove the law will block new projects. That gap matters because legislative text can change through negotiation, amendments, and enforcement interpretation. The cleaner proof would be final bill language on asset classification, exemptions, and compliance paths. Until that appears, the story should be read as a defined setup with a real open question. That does not make the story smaller. It makes it cleaner because the unresolved detail is exactly where risk can be misread. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. The concrete signal to follow is bill revisions, classification rules, and responses from major projects. Those signals will show whether the law becomes a roadmap or a gatekeeping tool. Hoskinson warns clarity becomes easier to read if final language creates high barriers for new token projects. It weakens if amendments create clearer paths for both incumbents and startups. The final readout is simple. The real fight is clarity versus competitive lock-in. A strong next signal should be observable, not emotional. A filing, close, data release, official term, usage number, or liquidity change.